How's it going? Jet Tila, Ali Tila. Welcome to our kitchen. We are super happy that you're cooking along with us today.
Today we're going to be making small batch chocolate chip cookie ice cream sandwiches. This is really one of our favorite date night desserts because Jet loves ice cream, I love cookies, so this is the perfect pairing, kind of like us.
That's true.
We're going to be punching up the rich buttery flavor of our chocolate chip cookies by using a brown butter and then filling those cookies with a creamy vanilla ice cream. And for some added decadence, we're going to show you how to make a cool chocolate shell to dip your ice cream sandwiches in.
So before you begin, all you have to do is have a sheet pan ready, lined with either parchment paper or a silicone mat. Let's get started.
All right, so the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna brown our butter. Because this is gonna take a few minutes to cool before we add it to our dough, we wanna do this first. Right, so we want medium high heat. And we're gonna add our butter right to our pan.
All right, so notes on brown butter. Traditionally, in the hot kitchen or the savory kitchen, I would be serving brown butter with like sage and pumpkin and ravioli. Kind of cool that you're using brown butter in the actual baking world.
Oh, you can use brown butter in anything in baking. It's one of my favorite things to do. I like to put it in granola. I like to add it to cookies, cakes. Blondies are one of my favorite things to add brown butter to.
We should kind of talk about the reasoning. Butter comes from cream. It's churned so the fat separates. By browning the butter, you get really these kind of nutty, smoky notes.
Right, you're browning the milk solids in the butter, and you're gonna see them at the bottom of the pan start to separate out and then brown. Yeah.
Do you want me to take over and then
Sure,
you on
do you
to the
want to
next
take
step?
over with the brown butter?
The only thing I've done in this entire situation is brown butter before. We are in your house. We are in our house, but we're in your realm of the world because I, as you know, am not a pastry savvy person. So I'm taking this class right along with you.
You're doing great.
That's
doing
good.
great.
This is a good date night situation because, you know, Allie will just tell me what to do like every
day.
Happy wife, happy life. Go ahead, sorry.
So what you're going to look for is, for me, I prefer to get a deeper brown on the brown butter. Because you know you're going to put it in baked goods and you want it darker because it's going to be competing with a lot of other big flavors, and so you want to be able to, you want that nuttiness and that richness to come through.
Yeah, so what you're seeing in here actually is there's water in butter that's boiling and evaporating. That's leaving behind the actual fat in the butter. And in that fat are two parts, right? You've got the liquid and then you've got the solids. There's milk solids in here. And it's actually the milk solids that are actually going to be browning. The liquid just basically turns to clarified butter, which is ghee, which is an Indian product, higher smoke point. I'm getting too nerdy on this. So as the water evaporates, it goes from basically blonde to medium brown, and then that final step of like brown happens really quickly.
It's fast.
So you got to be very, very careful as you get to that brown point.
This is going to sputter, and then it's going to foam up, and then it's going to brown. So we're going to be watching for that. But while you're watching the brown butter, I'm going to be measuring out our dry ingredients over here. All right, so you're going to take 1.5 cups of flour, and you want to just sweep your cup through the flour and then level it off. We don't want to pack our flour into our cup.
So you're aerating and then leveling off.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then a half.
You done with all purpose?
Done with all purpose.
Let me get it out of your way.
Thank you. And then we're going to do a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And I'm going to give these a little whisk just to make sure all the baking soda and ingredients are combined. Okay. Are we?
Yeah, we're getting there. You can actually see how it's foaming up now. And if I tilt the pan over, you can see the solids actually turning brown. So we're very, very close now.
Well, it's good to use a lighter colored pan because you can see the bottom better and you can see when your butter's browning.
All right, Allie, I mean, it's starting to kind of get medium brown now. And it's actually the milk solids that are turning brown.
I mean, I like to take mine to the OS level, like, oh, snap, it's almost burnt. But if you're new to this, just get it to a nice deep brown and then finish, because it's gonna burn fast if you're not watching it.
You psyched me out. You said, oh snap. I thought you were gonna say a bad word. Anyway.
So you wanna pour it into a heat-proof bowl so that it doesn't continue cooking and burn in the pan. Oh, that's
it.
beautiful.
That's brown butter.
That looks great.
The brown butter's hanging out. It needs about 10 or 15 minutes to cool. So this is a great time to hit that pause button, go take a break, and then when you come back in about 10 or 15, we'll move on to make that cookie dough. You can also make this brown butter well ahead of time, put it in an airtight container, keep it in the fridge, and just scoop it out as you need. Makes your life a lot easier.
Welcome back. So our brown butter is cooled down and we're ready to make our dough. So we're gonna start with our sugars.
Man, Allie, 3 sugars. Bakers are very particular.
The more the better, right? But
why?
yes. So white sugar is gonna give us a little bit more of a crisp and caramelization in our cookies. Brown sugars are more moist. There's molasses in them and it's gonna give us a little more of a chew. And so I want these a little bit more moist, a little bit more chewy. And I'm using 2 brown sugars. The dark brown sugar has more molasses in it, so it's gonna give us a little bit more flavor and again, even more moisture. So I like to use all 3.
Very fancy. I got that.
All
you
right.
go ahead.
So all 3 sugars. We're gonna add an egg. But we're not gonna add the shell. Some vanilla. Do you have to add your vanilla to your egg? No, but that's what I like to do. It's all going to the same place. I'm just gonna beat the egg lightly. All right. Into our dough.
I'm your sous chef today.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
And then I want to give this brown butter a little bit of a stir to kick up all those brown bits so I don't lose any in the dough. I don't want any left over in the bowl because that's where the flavor is.
Yep, all your solids tend to settle to the bottom, so
Yeah.
you want to make sure to stir them right in.
Exactly. All right. And I just have a paddle attachment for my mixer. You could do this by hand, absolutely, but I'm lazy. I love my stand mixer. All right, and we're just gonna mix this until well combined. All right. So this is well combined. We're gonna add our dry ingredients right in the bowl.
So I think you covered it. I think you said it before, but if our friends don't have a stand mixer,
You can mix this by hand, or you can mix it with a little hand mixer too.
perfect, like with the little beater thingies. Okay,
Exactly.
I don't bake, dude. I'm sorry, I just don't.
All right, so we're gonna mix this until just combined because we don't wanna overmix it. You don't wanna overmix your cookies because you don't wanna form gluten in the flour and then you're gonna end up with a really tough cookie if you do. So you just wanna combine the ingredients here.
So you're going on slow and low?
Slow and low.
All right.
I'm just gonna scrape the bottom of the bowl to make sure none of the flour got left behind. I wanna make sure that everything gets incorporated.
It smells great.
Oh, smell that nuttiness from the butter? It's heavenly.
It's actually the brown butter, the molasses, and the brown sugar and the vanilla. I mean, that really smells
It's
good.
like the best of the baking world
Yeah.
right here. All right, I'm just gonna give it one quick spin and then it's pretty well combined. All right.
Lovely.
Okay. Last, we're gonna add our chocolate chips. I'm gonna teach you something
You teach me stuff every day. What are you talking about? Yeah.
that it's a little trick so that you don't overmix your batter or your dough.
Okay.
You just if you're using a stand mixer, you can just pulse the mixer. So it'll mix in your inclusions without overworking your dough.
Inclusions. Big industry term. Wow. That's awesome.
That's what I like to do, right?
Cool.
So it gets mixed in, but it doesn't overwork it. So I'm gonna finish the rest by hand so that we really don't overwork it. Perfect.
All right. Done here?
Yeah.
I got you. I got it, don't worry.
All right.
That looks great.
Thank you. All right, so we're ready to scoop. And first let's talk about our pan.
Okay.
Our pan's lined with parchment, but one of the issues with parchment is this. And then you put your cookies on the sheet pan and they fly all over the place. So what I like to do is spray the pan with a little bit of cooking spray, and then the parchment stays stationary.
Yeah, we use a lot of cooking spray in this house.
A lot.
I mean, yeah, for savory and pastry. I think it really is the best way to get coverage. Look at that, perfect coverage.
Aha! Okay. I like to use an ice cream scoop. Scoops are really great because it allows you to portion your cookies all the same size. And with ice cream sandwiches, I want my cookies to be the same size as I sandwich them so they look pretty.
Yeah, they're consistent. They're even.
If they're uneven, will I still eat them?
Yes. Absolutely.
but this will help us to portion. So I'm going to take my ice cream scoop, and what I'm going to do is push it on the side of the bowl so I get a pretty even cookie every time. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
All right.
That's nice. A really great tip from a pro kitchen to a home kitchen is scoops and ladles are usually sized, and you can actually use them as measuring utensils. So if you don't have that perfect, cup measure, if you've got a ladle that's a 2, 4, or 8 ounce, you've got the quarter cup, half cup, 1 cup, and same thing with these. So just a little tip, if you're ever searching for a measuring tool, you have measuring tools. You just have to understand the sizes of scoops and ladles.
Exactly. So you have 2 ways that you can go here. You don't have to portion them before you refrigerate them. Let's say you don't have time, you're in a hurry, make your dough, put a piece of plastic wrap directly on top of it in the bowl, and then put another one on top of the bowl and stick it in the refrigerator. Let it soften maybe 5 minutes just so you can scoop it, and then you can scoop them and bake them off at that point. So you have 2 ways that you can do it. Today we're gonna do it portioned and then put it in the refrigerator. So I'm just gonna give them a little push, a little zhuzh, just flatten them out a little bit. And then we're gonna cover them.
Oh, nice.
There, perfect.
All right, coming through.
So hit your pause button. We're gonna put these cookies in the refrigerator for about an hour, and we'll meet back here with our ovens preheated to 350.
All right, welcome back, team. We've just pulled these cookies out of the refrigerator. They've been cooling. Why have they been cooling, Allie?
Well, there are several reasons. So first, the flour enzymes break down as they chill, and that results in better caramelization and browning in your cookie. Secondly, you're hardening the butter. So when you hydrate your flour and you harden the butter, the cookies spread less. And I don't know about you, but have you ever gone through the trouble of making a cookie dough and then your cookies spread out and go flat all over your pan in the oven? I hate that.
Yeah.
So these cookies will spread less. And in fact, that's why with cut doughs and logs, it's one of the last steps is to chill the dough so that you get less of a spread. So our oven's preheated to 350. We're gonna prepare our cookies. So what I like to do to make these super fancy, I'm just gonna lightly mist the top of the cookies. And then I'm gonna dip them in some of the leftover chocolate chips.
So presentation side up. You're
exactly,
dipping in. Okay,
exactly. We want these kind of to look bakery style and fancy. So the more chocolate chips, in my opinion, the better. And the water will help them to stick on the top a little bit more.
It's like a food styling tip too.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Excellent. So if you get these little areas of no chocolate chip coverage,
yes,
that's what you're fighting against?
Exactly.
Okay.
And I think it just gives it a nice, pretty texture on the top too.
Fun.
And the more chocolate chips, the better. Am I right?
Oh, wait, you missed one. It's mine now.
All right. Okay. And then we're just going to sprinkle the tops with a little bit of flaked sea salt.
We like a little salty with our sweet.
Right. I think all desserts need a little bit of salt to balance them out. I mean, I wouldn't put this in whipped cream, but but any baked goods, you really need a little bit of salt. And I like that sweet and savory kind of battle in my cookies, you know?
Cool. And this is just a flake sea salt.
Right.
Yeah. But this can be, if you don't have it, I think you'd be fine with just a little bit of kosher salt as well.
Yeah, exactly. I like the large flake, but kosher salt works perfectly.
For sure. All right, now what do you want me to do?
Straight in the oven. So
How long?
So these, I want to make sure these are at least a couple of inches apart. Okay, so we're gonna put these in the oven. Will you do the honors?
Happy to.
Thank you. Those are gonna bake for about 12 to 15 minutes, just until the edges are golden, and then we're gonna bring them out, cool them for about 5 minutes on the pan. So hit the pause button and we'll meet you back here when our cookies are cooled. Welcome back. So our cookies are cooled and we're ready to fill them. So we have some slightly softened vanilla ice cream.
I'm on
You
it.
got that?
That was the signal. We have ice cream.
We have
Go
ice
get it.
cream.
Okay,
Can
I
you?
get it.
Perfect. So we're gonna use the same scooper that we use for our cookies because that's just the easiest thing to do.
Makes sense size-wise.
Do
Cookies
you wanna?
size.
Do you wanna?
Yeah, you want me to do it?
Do you wanna do the honors?
Yeah. Make me look crazy if I mess up. Thank you very much.
That's the idea.
So yeah, this ice cream was taken from the freezer into the fridge for probably about 20 minutes, and that's actually what we call in the industry dipper, like a dipper temperature, meaning you can get in and get a really pretty scoop. So, did I go aggressive?
I think that's fine.
I don't think that's aggressive. That's how I
I think
want to
that's
eat them.
awesome.
So,
I would totally eat that.
all right. So I'm gonna take the other piece.
Right, and you're just gonna gently press it in.
Gently. I don't do anything gently. So I'm gonna try to do my best here to not mess this up. That's great.
That looks amazing.
And then
and if you really want to make it fancy,
I'm scared.
here.
All right, here, I'll give this to you. You make
I
it
mean,
fancy.
if you want to get it,
I'll make the other one. You make it
I
fancy.
think this looks amazing exactly the way it is, but you can smooth it at the edges out a little bit with just an offset spatula and just get it a little bit more even.
Look at that. This is where you get creative though with the type of ice cream. Ali has her chocolate chip as inclusions, but your favorite little candies that your kids like. This is
Right.
where you can get really fun with it.
And then we're gonna pop these into the freezer for about 1 to 2 hours. So hit the pause button and we'll meet you back here in 2 hours with your frozen ice cream sandwiches. Welcome back. So our cookies are freezing. Our ice cream sandwiches are in the freezer. They can stay there while we're making our chocolate dip shell. I'm really excited about this. This is a fun trick. When you're a kid, did you ever use that chocolate sauce where you have your ice cream sundae and you pour it on top and it hardens? We're gonna make a version of that homemade. So we're gonna get our double boiler going. We have a few inches of water that we're gonna bring to a simmer, and then we're gonna put our bowl of chocolate right on top of that.
We need to talk about this chocolate though, Ali. I
Right.
think this looks like chocolate chips, but
It's
is
not.
Yeah.
So you want to use a good quality chocolate that's going to stand up to the flavor of the coconut oil. So I like to use like a 65% or something. But you know, good quality is always going to yield you a better result. So
Really great chocolate also comes in giant bars, and you can just break those up or chip them apart, and it
just
does the
chop
same
them
thing.
and throw them right in.
Another thing, Ali, why the double boiler and not chocolate into a pot on a low stove?
You don't want to burn your chocolate. You can scorch chocolate really easily, and so this is a nice way to heat it without scorching it. Alternatively, you can put it in the microwave in a microwave-safe bowl and just heat it in 30-second increments until it's melted.
Cool, and it's already starting actually. You
Yeah.
show our friends what that looks like.
It's getting there.
Oh, so it's melting quickly.
Yeah, it's fast. Okay.
So the water is simmering. The steam is heating the bottom of the glass bowl.
Exactly.
And that is the gentle heat that Allie's talking about that won't actually scorch. So you also want a big enough bowl to sit around the pot because you don't want any steam escaping and then landing back in because that actually could seize your chocolate as well.
Exactly. Be careful. And also the bowl can get hot, so be careful. Be careful when you're touching it.
Just a little towel.
I'm
or
a bad
something.
example.
They also make little silicone rims for pots for this situation as well. So if you want to get fancy.
You're fancy.
No, I'm not. I like the version of kitchen tools that are like the MacGyvers of the kitchen. You know, I'm all about multitaskers.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, so the actual kind of chemistry of this magic shell, you're going to be adding coconut oil to this.
Exactly. The coconut oil is the magic here. As fats cool down, they harden. Okay, so adding the coconut oil is going to make the chocolate harden especially as it hits cold temperatures like our ice cream sandwich. So that's the magic of the chocolate shell.
It's a completely natural oil, and it is hard at room temperature. So when you mix this to the chocolate, it kind of takes the chocolate and solidifies it a lot faster. It also gives it a beautiful shine as
Right.
well. I mean, how much do you need of this?
I need 4 tablespoons.
4 leveled tables.
Exactly.
Okay, or 2 ounces. Say when.
Ready?
Babe.
Anytime.
Okay, 1.
Perfect.
Oh, you got the like organic fancy coconut oil too. That's amazing.
And we're just going to melt these all together.
There you go. Perfect. All right, last one. 4 tables. And that's happening quickly. The coconut oil is actually melting very, very fast. All right, so as long as you keep this chocolate and coconut oil mixture warm, it won't solidify.
Right.
But once it starts to cool or hit something cold, it will actually turn hard.
Exactly. And it'll turn hard quickly in under a minute. So
Wow, that's
Yeah.
cool. And look how shiny that's getting.
And if you have any problems, you can just pop it in the freezer for like, a minute or so, and it should harden up really nice.
So what you're looking for is a complete incorporation of the coconut oil into the chocolate. You shouldn't see any variation between coconut oil or chocolate. It should be one beautiful, shiny chocolate sauce.
Exactly. It should be all melted and combined together. And I think we're there.
There you go.
All right.
There it is.
We're going to wait for this to cool down just a little bit, maybe to 80 degrees or so. We don't want it melting our ice cream sandwiches. So hit the pause button and we'll meet you back here when your chocolate's between 80 and 90 degrees. Welcome back. So our chocolate has cooled and it's time to dip our sandwiches. Are you ready?
I'm going to go get them
All right.
out of the freezer. Oh, yes.
Look at those beasts.
I want to eat them just like that. All
Are
right,
we ready?
Allie, how do we dip?
Let's dip. Do you want to do one?
Sure.
And I'll do one?
That's also Tila code for. Can you screw this up first? All right, so these are cold, and we're gonna go halvesies, right? So I'm just gonna insert in until I get 50% coverage. You could do the whole
Exactly.
thing,
That's
but you're gonna
perfect.
be definitely on the messy side. And another thing the kids like to do is once we do the halvesy dip like that, you can actually do sprinkles. You could
I love
apply
doing
any
sprinkles.
kind of candy situation. So.
Right.
All right, I'm gonna hold that here while it hardens while you do yours. So
Right. So you can see it hardening.
So just in a matter of seconds, you can start to see it go from shiny, and then it starts
Right.
to get cool, and it goes opaque, and then it'll become a hard shell.
And you can see on the sides it's starting to turn a little more matte. And so that's when you know that it's hardening. So you can if your chocolate's a little low, you can just tip your bowl so you get kind of a better pool. And then I'm just gonna dip it, make sure it's really well coated. Shake off the excess a little bit.
These are Tila size, so feel free
Yes.
to go smaller if you want, but we love these.
So you can see it start to harden. It's getting more matte.
You just put these on a sheet tray, put them back in the freezer until you're ready to eat. But in our case, this is a date night dessert recipe, so we're gonna enjoy them straight away.
I think we should just dig in.
I'm ready. I want this to harden a little bit, and then I think it's ready to go. Let me clear
Perfect.
this away.
So check this out. Our chocolate is hardened all around our cold ice cream sandwich.
Yeah, man.
What do you
That is
think?
so fun, man. Look at that. It becomes this little shell that's ready to eat.
Well, I mean, I'm ready to eat. I can tell you that.
Let's dig in. We got to do those cheesy cheers.
Ching.
All right, let's go for it.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
that is so good.
It really is perfect date night food. It's messy. It's fun.
Vanilla ice cream's creamy. You have the nice notes from the brown butter. So good.
And if you're the kind that likes to pick the chocolate shell and eat that first, that's perfect too.
Thanks so much for taking our class. We had so much fun cooking with you, and we hope you had fun cooking with us.